We're going to talk about mental telepathy now, and I'm either the fortunate or unfortunate possessor of a great talent in mental telepathy. It's my original psychic talent, and something that just came. I came by it naturally. I didn't have to develop it, but I think that we all actually have a natural ability with mental telepathy. So I made a checklist about that, because I think that it's important to recognize what is mental telepathy. And just to review, that mental telepathy is the transmission of thoughts and ideas and the reception of thoughts and ideas. So it's specifically conscious thoughts and ideas that are transmitted and received. That's mental telepathy. And I did make a checklist. So what you want to do is just notice how much mental telepathy you already have, and it's guaranteed to be more than you realized. Even if you consider yourself telepathic, and you often say, "Oh, that was telepathy, ha ha ha," I doubt you've realized just how telepathic you already are. I'm going to make a checklist here. Go through the checklist and we'll see. So here's some questions. Has this ever happened to you? Is sort of the overall umbrella question. You think about someone, and then 2 days later, or an hour later even, she calls you. You think about someone, and then later you found out that person was having something very big happen in her life at that same moment as you thought of her. You get an idea in your head, and minutes later, your companion states the same idea. You find yourself finishing the sentences of the person you're talking to using the identical words. You may even be saying the words together in that moment. Now this one has happened to me a lot, and will be happening to you if it isn't already. Your client is telling you a story about someone else's reaction. You state what you think the explanation for the behavior is, and your client says, "Yes, that's exactly what she said." Now that example has some extra layers in it, because in that moment you're in tune with your client, and you're in tune with the person being described, and you're reading the client's energy via a combination of both telepathy and empathic resonance. That last example, where someone's telling you a story and you can get into what the other person was thinking, and you can use the exact words even. That's how that comes about. So, what is important to understand is how telepathy travels. Like, what is this mechanism by which telepathy travels? And of course it's some kind of telephone system, so there's got to be some kind of equivalent of wires, fiber optics no less, and there is. And that are the filaments of the etheric web of the universe. So let's take a look at what that looks like by looking at the picture of the etheric web in the book. Here's Mary Beth's extraordinary collage of the etheric web, and you can see the etheric web connects us to everything, to the universe, and the scientists have actually found what is making up these connecting points, and it's hydrogen filaments. I will put the link in our notes so that you can look at the article, because when I wrote this book I did check that everything I asserted as a fact did have corroborating evidence in our era of science, and that I wasn't just making up something or channeling something that I couldn't point to scientific evidence supporting what I was saying. And I did find that they have actually found this web that connects us all, connects all beings, all forms of existence, and it's made up of hydrogen filaments, and there is actually this connection, this webbing that goes through the entire universe, and we're part of that. And that's what forms these filaments along which information, etheric information, can vibrate. And there will be ether, and that will not be depicted in this picture. So if my grandmother, this is my grandmother here, if she wants to communicate with me, she can do so via these filaments and come through and get to me. And I can likewise. Now, these are not the same as the cords of connection that we withdraw after we've connected with somebody. This is the network of filaments that is in place and that we call the etheric web. I thought that our cords of connection and the etheric web were one and the same thing, but they're not. They're all part of the etheric web. Cords of connection are part of the etheric web, but these filaments are not to do with the cords of connection. So the vibration's going to come, the information's going to come along all the way through these connecting points and these filaments. And through mental telepathy, we can communicate with our spirit guides, with mythical creatures, with our power animals, with our ancestors, with crystals, with flowers, with plants, with the earth, with the planet. And that is what people do with using mental telepathy. We do communicate across different forms, not necessarily of life, because if we can communicate with crystals, and I certainly know from my own experience over and over and over again that I can, that is mental telepathy. And crystals don't send out cords of connection. So that's an affirming point for me, being able to say definitively, no, these connections are not cords of connection. This is the etheric web, the filaments of the etheric web. And so, very powerful to know this. Now, if people can reach you just by thinking of you, what kind of protection do you need to put in place under that circumstance? So let's take a look at that next. If it sounds scary to you that people can access you through the filaments of the universe and the etheric web and bombard you with ideas and thoughts and so on, and you're feeling afraid, I can honestly say yes, be very afraid, because that's the story of my life, with this constant bombardment of ideas. My brain has turned into an antenna, and it's just picking up this information. So I can say that it is important to learn how to modulate, and you do need to learn where's the on-off switch for this. So I have my work hours, during which time I am receptive to telepathic information, and then I have my off-work hours, during which time I am not receptive to telepathic information. That's pretty much like putting my phone on do not disturb. It's a conscious intention. Now, the problem with that is that because it's under your conscious control and it's your conscious intention, what do you do at night when you're asleep and your intention and your conscious control are not in operation? And I was so disturbed and waking up so tired every morning and having people telling me, well, I was having trouble, so I called upon you and I thought of you, and then I found the ring that had gone missing, and I figured out the solution to this problem that I was needing you to help me with. And I thought, is this why I'm not getting any sleep? No pay and no sleep. Oh my goodness, no good. So I had to do something about it. And what I did was I got some hemimorphite, because this is hemimorphite. That is specifically the stone that will dissolve those cords that are coming in from other people, the cords of connection. And so I decided I was going to make a telepathic thought catcher and put it next to my bed. And I used a big piece of hemimorphite. It's about this big. It's got beautiful netting and webbing design in it, so pretty perfect. But I don't expect you to be able to find a piece of hemimorphite like that easily. So I asked the hemimorphite and I asked our spirit guides, what should we recommend here? Because I thought I must explain this to you. If you're going to become more and more sensitive to telepathic information, you do need to be able to modulate, and you do need to be able to have a way to switch it off, and you do need something to protect you while you're sleeping. And so they said use a dream catcher, because that's actually what a dream catcher is for. That's actually what a dream catcher is. But so here's a dream catcher that we have, and then what the spirit said to do is to take the hemimorphite and grid the dream catcher with the hemimorphite, so it knows that this is specifically for catching telepathy cords that are coming in and holding you protected. I can actually feel it working. So I'm just going to grid, crystal surgery gridding with hemimorphite. Now, if you're very crafty and you have access and you have small pieces of hemimorphite, rather not little polished tumble pieces, you rather want raw hemimorphite for this technique, then you can maybe hang those pieces on the dream catcher. But all you really need to do is grid. But I do recommend that you refresh this grid at least once a week. There we go. I can feel it working. I can feel it vibrating as it responds and it tunes. So we're literally programming the dream catcher for this specific task. And it feels good, I would like to say. Now you can make that for yourself. That's just netting over there in a frame. And then you just grid it with the hemimorphite. That's rather good. And peer at you from behind the dream catcher. There we go. And good luck. Mental telepathy is a wonderful tool. It's great to feel connected, but it can be invasive. And you don't want to invade others with mental telepathy, and you do not want to be invaded. But you do want to get all the benefits, and there are more benefits than downside, I have to admit. Okay, that's great. There we are, mental telepathy.